Hey, I'm Marina.
And I'm Emily.
And I've seen everything in the Sex and the City empire 10,000 times.
And I'm starting fresh.
So I'll be woman-splaining the show.
And I'm along for the ride.
But there's a twist. We're starting with And Just Like That and working our way back to the beginning.
So in other words, we're watching it backwards and in high heels.
This is City and the Sex. Welcome back to Sex and the City, the movie, 2000. This is part 2, so we will ride out the rest of this adventure. Emily, how you feeling about part 2?
I'm nervous. This is a lot. This is like 3 Sex and the City episodes in one.
Yes.
But thank God that you have a very organized note system. So we're going to get through this.
Yeah, everybody just hold us tight through this part 2 because there is surprisingly a lot to get through.
This was in their drafts for the last season, and they just got the green light for a movie, maybe, and then they were everyone was like, "Oh, but my idea, but this other thing, can we also do this?" And they were like, "Sure, let's take it all.
Put it in. Jennifer Hudson, get her in there."
Yeah, exactly.
What is your one word for this part 2?
I'm gonna make it forgive and forget, because that happens.
Yep. It's a big Jesus allegory, this part 2. In this essay, I will know. But it is a lot of forgiveness is the big word in this movie. Mm-hmm. My one word is going to be Starbucks. Have you enjoyed a Starbucks lately? Because Starbucks is Starbucks, where you can Starbucks the Starbucks away. Starbucks.
You know, what's funny about that is Starbucks.
And then when you Starbucks, it's Starbucks.
It's Starbucks.
I know. But sometimes I like to smart water.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, but only in the summer. In the winter, I pret a manger.
For your sandwich.
Uh-huh.
In the winter, you sandwich. And in the summer, you smart water.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
I know. It does.
I don't have to explain myself. Okay.
We know.
So we arrive in Mexico for Carrie's Mexicoma. Carrie's looking haggard, and the girls get into the honeymoon suite, and they see the rose petals on the bed, and they're like, "Get these rose petals out of here," shoving it into their purses and their hats and their pockets. Carrie doesn't even notice. She just lays flat on the bed and tells them to close the blinds and is out cold for 2 days. But all the girls check on her. Finally, at some point in the second day, Samantha's like, "You have to eat something." And she spoons feeds her yogurt like a baby. And
oh, geez. I do like the little montage, I'll say, of the it's sort of cute. There's also something very theatery about it. You know what I mean? Because Carrie's the same. The set is the same. It's just fade in, fade out. We just have 3 different encounters of people trying to get her to eat something. And I've been in this situation before. I've been both people in this situation before, where I'm being fed and I'm feeding. I remember once it was my first experience of I am crying over a boy, and my friends were like, "Say no more. We're coming back from, something. We're going to pick something up on the way." And it was a Sunday afternoon or whatever. And it came with a giant box of Cheerios. And they were like, "You need to eat something." And then we just sat there giggling and crying, and I ate my Cheerios.
Yeah, this is a pretty glam way to do that as opposed to the college dorm room with stale Cheerio box. But
yeah, this was how we did it out in the, real world.
So finally Carrie emerges and they're like, "Yay, she came out." We also learn that Charlotte is only eating pudding because it's Mexico.
And she even says that with a whisper. She's like,
"It's Mexico." I'm like, crazy. Nowadays people are dying because they're going to Mexico for BBLs. I think the problems are bigger, sweetie.
Literally.
And then they're all kind of just basking in the sun. And we get a close-up shot of Miranda's bush. because she has not waxed in a while.
This was mean.
This was mean.
Samantha, I expect better of you. This was
think
not
it was
nice.
Kind of crazy that Miranda was like, you know, I'm busy, I'm married, I have kids. And Samantha's like, this one has kids and she can still do it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
what
but
is it to you?
Charlotte doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
Miranda's the breadwinner. So she has to work a lot and raise a kid.
Yeah.
And also, what if she just wants to rock the bush?
Right, like, if it was just a choice, how does this mean anything to you, first of all? Second of all, she just told you that she's, like, busy, and you know that the cheating just like, I'll give her a pass as an out-of-character moment, only because, like, I've seen Samantha be a little faster on the uptake so far than the other girls.
I feel like if this movie had gone down the road of Miranda is not having sex with Steve anymore and she needs to, like, refine her sexuality or, like, what makes her feel sexy, this could have been that. But as we'll go through, she doesn't ever really have that journey. She doesn't ever really think about, well, why don't I want to have sex, other than the fact that just I'm busy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well,
so
it's a question for better help, I guess.
911 better help.
911
better help.
It's our official number. No, it is not.
Well, they go down for dinner, and of course the waiter's like, oh, Mrs. Preston, and Carrie's like, what a slap in the face. They get a bunch of margaritas, and Carrie finally just starts to unwind, and she's like, there was a part of me that knew he was going to bail. Maybe because he told you 10 times. Who said that?
Who said that? What?
Who said that? What? And then she ends on the sentiment of, if the me of 5 years ago met me now, I wouldn't even know me. And then we learn that this movie is supposed to be Carrie discovering herself outside of Big, which is...
Wait, rewind that. It's supposed to be what? Based on what?
I feel that the movie is trying to tell me, not that this was my lesson, just what the movie is trying to tell me is that this is a journey of Carrie coming back to herself without Big.
Oh.
It's not delivered well, and that's why you and I are having this awkward moment.
Yikes.
But that's what the movie wants us to think.
Okay. Yikes. Thank you for bringing that up because I was confused by that. So that line is like, me of 5 years ago would be shocked that I'd be broken up over Big.
Like the me of 5 years ago wouldn't know this me that's like desperate to marry Big and is like crushed that he rejected me. The me of 5 years ago would be like, girl, why you stressing?
Do you agree with that based on what I know about Carrie and Big?
No, this line makes no sense.
Okay.
Sorry about it.
Sorry about it.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, this is not about you. Like, what? Like, he abandoned you at the altar. Like, that is just fucked. You're allowed to feel that is fucked.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Even
not
though
pathetic. You're not pathetic, and your former self, like, this horrible thing has happened to you. If I could just grab your shoulders and shake you and tell you that Big is responsible for the things that he does, I would do that.
But you're not going to listen to me anyway. And that's the Carrie of 5 years ago.
Yeah. There we go.
We end the scene with Samantha basically saying she's tired of Smith Jared.
Oh.
Because she wants to be out there and fuck. Carrie gets her phone back and she's like, I don't know whether to check the voicemails or my emails. Like, I don't know what to look at. And this is where we learn that Miranda has somehow gotten the people who bought Carrie's apartment to sell it back to her.
Crazy. Well,
crazy.
Why?
I don't know why literally anybody would do that, but whatever.
Did she like shake them down? Are they in the mafia? Like what? How did you chase these people out of the home that they just purchased?
I'm going to need you to sell that back. What?
Crazy.
Crazy. I do love this moment though where Charlotte's like, okay, I'm going to go to Pilates and then for a run. Does anybody else want to come? And everyone else is like,
first
no,
relatable thing. First relatable ass thing that happens. Everyone just turns away from her.
Woman behavior. That's what that is. And everyone's like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
I also forgot, we'll get into it later, but like they really deleted that part of Charlotte's personality and just like that like she likes to run. and she likes to do fitness. That's like a big part of her. Other than the tennis episode, like when do we ever get that?
That's true. And that's crazy to hear that she's a fitness person. I thought it was just a weird thing from this movie.
Nope, they just disappeared it.
Wow, they did. Okay.
But Charlotte comes back and she's in the shower thinking about how happy she is. And she gets a little bit of shower water in her mouth and realizes it's Mexico water. I love the way that she spits it out like a fish.
Yeah. So
Kristen
funny.
Davis really selling the facial expressions in this movie.
Yeah, when her facial expression, the journey she's about to go on, that's you can't teach that.
Then we get to the famous moment, which is that Charlotte's walking around and she realizes her stomach is grumbling and she realizes she's going to shit herself from all that pudding. So she runs back to their, cabana or whatever, and she gets there and everybody's like, honey, are you okay? And she's like trying to get in the door, but the door is locked and she is freaking out. And then there's just this it's like Stooges level comedy where like the stomach growls. She like whips her head to look at the girls, shits herself, like twitches her eye as she shits herself. And they all just immediately know that that's what's happened.
Yeah. And they all
then
start laughing.
Carrie laughs. She's
Carrie
out of her
laughs.
Mexicoma.
She's been awoken. She's arisen.
The lengths that they'll go to debase this poor woman. The fact that they make the joke she poo-keepsied herself.
This is the most insulting thing you can do to a person.
I'm like,
you know what? They go after her because they know that she's secretly the most powerful one.
That's why. That's why.
You're correct. That's what you said last time, and it's correct.
And did I stutter?
Look at this.
Well, Carrie sits dramatically on a cliff and starts to listen to the voicemails. She gets through one and she chucks the phone because she just can't listen to it. And that's what Carrie does. That's her advice. When you can't do it, just throw it in the ocean. Okay. This is what I'd like to call out that according to the voicemail, they got married on my birthday, September 20th.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to remind you that on your birthday. Every year from now on. I'm going to give you anniversary cards. Like, happy anniversary, and just write it in the form of, like, in character as big.
I want, like, a different production still every year of, like, the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
just
this
a
movie.
Different frame of her smacking him with flowers.
With the flowers, exactly. And then one year it's, like, Charlotte mid-no.
Yeah.
So as we look at the cell phone adrift in the ocean, we cut back to a rainy Manhattan where Carrie has returned to her apartment full of all her shit.
Right.
And she says, I couldn't imagine a better time to get an assistant. And we're back in the montage, baby.
Let's go.
We're back in the comedy ring.
And are we in where does these interviews take place? What cafe are we in? What coffee shop?
I don't know what cafe it's in actually, but you know what I'm craving right now?
What?
A Starbucks.
Oh my God, wait, you too?
Oh my God, wait, are you drinking a Starbucks?
I'm drinking a Starbucks right now.
Oh my God, me too. It's such a good Starbucks.
You know what I love about Starbucks is that it's Starbucks.
My favorite thing about Starbucks is that I turn the logo to camera so that you can see that it's Starbucks. Starbucks. Where are your Starbucks?
Starbucks. Or you drink Starbucks.
Starbucks. When you're here, it's Starbucks. So we get a montage, which is interesting knowing what we know about Michael Patrick King, that he hates young people, because it's a montage hating on young people.
Wow. Look at this foreshadowing for And Just Like That.
So first we have Broadway star Annalee Ashford being the dumb one. Then we have Bridget Everett giving a rousing performance as the drunk one.
Good for you getting these names in here. You knew all of them.
And then we have the last guy, which every time I watch it, it makes me uncomfortable.
What is going on? Why, Michael?
What is the joke they're trying to make? Let me describe this joke first, because I want to be clear. It's not what he's doing. That's the uncomfortable thing. I don't know what the joke they're trying to make is.
Yeah, correct.
But basically, we cut to this guy, And he's like, I graduated top from like an Ivy League business school, and I spent the last 2 years as the number 2 to the VP of Merrill Lynch. And Carrie's like, wow, you're really qualified. Like, why do you want to be my assistant? And he kind of glances down, and Carrie gives a confused look and then looks under the table, and he is wearing a pair of hot pink pumps. And then Carrie looks up at him, and then he kind of gives like a knowing, like, wink. And she rejects him.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I love Jennifer Hudson. But why not pick this guy?
I was confused. Like, when she saw the shoes, I thought her reaction was going to be like, oh, he has great taste in shoes.
Yes. That's what it should have been. Instead, it was like, ew, this freak.
Yeah.
Which is so uncomfortable. That's the uncomfortable part for me.
Yeah.
Is the fact that he's like part of the freak show with the drunk woman.
Right.
And I'm like, is it that he's gay? Is it that he likes women's shoes? Because I honestly think Carrie having a drag queen be her assistant, who eventually does Carrie Bradshaw drag, would have been an incredible plot. Incredible.
My God. We've been robbed. And it just makes so much sense that it's baffling. It's like, not only is this joke really dark and like kind of just mean and weird, like, he should be the perfect assistant for her. That would be fantastic if we could have gotten those bits. And like, and then they both love the shoes. Like, I don't understand. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. Well, we get Jennifer Hudson as Louise from St. Louis, which they really think is funny, and I don't get why. I think they're so clever. Can I just say Jennifer Hudson it's like, she's too famous for this role. I mean, maybe at this moment she wasn't, but like now she is, and that it feels so strange and funny. Like,
it feels so like funny to see her be like a bit character like this.
Right, exactly. It feels like, you know, when they would give out cameos to random people from like in America's Next Top Model, it's like, your win for the challenge is to be in an episode, and then you watch the episode and you're like, this person does not belong with the rest of them. Like, all you can do is focus on that.
Yeah.
That's the problem with her. It's like, she's too famous. So all you can do is just look at her and every scene and be like, that's Jennifer Hudson. It doesn't matter how great a performance she's giving. I'm like, that is someone who does not belong on this show. Like, you are a star.
She won her Academy Award the year before. So this is Oscar-winning actress Jennifer Hudson does Carrie Bradshaw's assistant, which is a crime.
Oh my God.
Has anybody reported this?
911 Better Help?
911 Better Help? Like, this is... she won the Academy Award in 2007, and this came out in 2008. I'm just saying, like...
Oh my God.
Dark. Well, Jennifer Hudson admits that she moved to New York to fall in love, and that's good enough for Carrie to hire her. We also learn a pivotal part of her personality is that she rents designer bags instead of purchasing them, so she can switch it up because she can't afford, obviously, to buy a real one, which is smart and economical, and that's why Carrie hates it.
And that's why Carrie hates it, is because it's like actually clever and good shopping. Okay, I see.
Yep. Well, Louise proceeds to completely fix her life, organize her apartment and get the movers and set up her website. I was looking at my notes and I just wrote, thank God for servants, ? Because Carrie kind of hovers over her and like is like, man, without Louise, I don't know what I would have done. And it's just like Carrie standing in the corner, like, you know, kind of smiling and sighing while Louise like runs around. And I'm like, there's something about this I don't like.
It's weird. Yeah, the optics are weird. I mean, it's like, I think it's the same problem, and just like that is going to run into where I think that they thought, they being, I don't know if it's casting or what, it's just like, oh, this is great. We're adding more characters to the show, and we're taking advantage of these opportunities to hire like non-white actors in roles that are going to be significant in some way. Let's add all these people, right? Like, if you're just going to add them to be a servant or like confidant, whatever, and exist to help main white person, this is actually like more insulting, kind of. I feel like this is the same thing, because you're absolutely right. All she does is just like be her maid. Yee!
I don't like it.
It's not great. where would I be without her? All these divorced girlies out there, like, they can relate.
They can relate. They're like, oh, it me.
Yeah.
Then we get to Miranda looking for an apartment in just random Chinatown.
Oh, God.
Highlight moment here is when she sees a white guy and she goes, white guy with a baby, where he's going, follows him to just an open door. She's like, it's a moving truck. And that's how she got her apartment. I'd like to see one person get an apartment like that.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know, but New York City.
Don't like that. Fuck this.
We cut to Carrie reading to Lily a fairy tale. And then she tries to be like, these aren't real, right? And I'm like, you don't need to do this. You can let her live in peace.
Leave this child alone. She's already killed once.
And we learn that Charlotte is pregnant.
Oh my God, yeah. This is where we find out, yeah.
Against all odds. Thrown in there. She has to have a plot of some kind, so she's just pregnant.
It's ideas that didn't make it into the show, and so this is the scraps, and we're just shoving it in.
Also, just the way that it's handled, where it's just like she's just kind of like smiling and pregnant in the background for the rest of the movie, and you're like, I feel like more time should be dedicated to this. Oh, wait, the movie's already 2.5 hours? Fuck it. Keep going.
Right, exactly.
We go back to Samantha and Jared post-coitus. And he tries to say to her, like, I just feel like you're really distant. And she makes the claim, which is fair, where she's like, I feel like I have no life here in LA. And he's like, well, you're always jetting to New York. You really haven't done anything to set up your life here in LA. And she's like, true, but also like, I feel like my whole life is about you, because my whole life is like making calls and deals for your career. It feels a little contrived to me, but I'm glad they actually have an adult conversation about it, which nobody else seems to have.
I know. Like, I'm great for Smith Jared, honestly. I'm just happy that they, even if a couple has to break up, if they can do it in a way like this, I'm like, A+ to everyone involved. You got out unscathed.
We love a compassionate king.
We love a compassionate king.
We cut back to Louise fixing up Carrie's website. Carrie's like, I think we should start organizing the closet. And Louise is like, I feel like we need to start organizing your emails. And the first email, of course, is from Mr. Big. And so Carrie's just like, I want you to set it up so that all his emails are deleted and I don't receive anything from him. And Louise is like, are you sure you want to cut contact? And Carrie's like, yes. And Louise is like, okay.
Okay.
Then we cut to a very pivotal scene around hats where Miranda and Carrie are shopping for Halloween costumes at a CVS Duane Reade type store. Carrie's like, I can't believe you're dressing up. And Miranda's like, well, it's for Brady's school. And then they get to the section and she's like, well, the only two costumes are witch or sexy kitten. Like, isn't that life? And all the women and all the labia majoras and minoras are clapping, and the audience and the theater, and we're cheering, and we're taking the Dune popcorn bucket and we're smashing it, and we're burning our bras. And
the way that women do when they get too excited.
Yeah, exactly. That's why men are scared, because if we become excited, we'll do that.
We'll do that. We cannot be governed.
While Miranda's wearing a witch hat, they commiserate together that like all their guys are just apologizing to them, like Big's apologizing and Steve's apologizing, and it's all one big I'm sorry. And Miranda tries to tell Carrie, that she told Big not to get married, I guess. And although that's not what she said, but she acts like that's what she said. And out from behind Miranda, Carrie sees that the Vogue, the age issue that she is featured in, is out. This is crazy. First of all, why would you know it's out? Somebody would have emailed to tell you it's out, or they would have sent you a copy to your apartment.
Jennifer Hudson would be all over that. And
don't understand why this is a surprise.
Yeah.
Second of all, they do the article as normal, but then put an editor's note that she didn't get married. Crazy. Can I just say, I mean, I've never worked in magazines, but in TV, they would just hold it.
Yeah.
Or if they had to publish it, they just would say something at the end, because an editor's note is usually on like an online article, because you have to update it later. So you have to tell people like, oh, we made an error. It happened in Saskatchewan, not Poughkeepsie. And that's an editor's note.
Right,
Because
they had enough time to print it with the editor's note, but somehow not enough time to like change the article or hold it and replace it with
something. Exactly. Or like fix it. That's what's crazy to me is like, I think they could have published this. They just needed to recobble it as like the last single girl question mark. And it would have been fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it absolutely could have edited this interview. And yeah, it's very strange. Very strange.
Very strange.
But I know that we have to get the weird editor's note just so Carrie can freak out about someone being like, she's single.
She's single. Get her. Call BetterHelp and Starbucks and get her. Yep. Yep.
The last single woman.
The last single woman.
So great.
Kill her. She's a witch.
Kill her.
She's gonna be stalked by the paps. People are gonna recognize her hair. She has to do something not to be recognized, so she becomes a brunette and takes Charlotte's haircut. Who said that?
Get her. They're coming for my girl. That's what I'm saying. It looks like a wig.
It is a wig. It's got to be a wig. It can't be your hair, and it doesn't look good.
Wrong. Something's wrong. I don't know.
It looks bad. It's not great. Louise brings her a cell phone from Sprint. And she's like, ugh, cell phones. And she has a whole crisis because instead of having a 917 number, now she has a 347 number.
This is funny. You had to be there.
You had to be there. You had to be there. Well, the only area code I care about is 305 Pitbull Dolly. Okay. So Carrie calls Samantha, and Samantha's talking about her sex on a stick neighbor. I think my favorite part about this is like the neighbor comes out of the water on his surfboard, and then a random woman, number 12, runs over to him and like jumps up on him, and then they're making out, and that's normal. And then he proceeds to pull her top off and expose her breast in public.
It's like,
and like fine that they're like on a semi-private beach because it's like, you know, residential neighborhood, but like people can see her breast. It's just out there.
I know, it's like aggressive. I don't know if she's okay with that.
It's like, I think this guy is like a Patrick Bateman level of creep because the way that he's just fucking these women out in public, pulling their breasts out, I'm like, it's not okay.
It is very Patrick Bateman. You're right. Samantha, stay away.
Carrie, she's basically complaining to Samantha about the 347 number, which like, girl, nobody cares. Move on.
It's crazy that she, and again, because they're apart, it's not even just like we're at brunch and it comes up. She calls her to talk about it. She's that upset. Girl, please.
Then we get to one of the most fabulous Samantha scenes in the whole movie. And actually here we have a review, if you will, from our close friend Rachel, who speaks very highly of this scene. So I'll just drop that right in here.
On this podcast, there's been a lot of hat talk, a lot of talk of hats on this podcast. And I think this movie has the strongest representation of hats, and I think it might actually redeem the hat transgressions of And Just Like That and Sex and the City 2. And we all know the scene I'm talking about, and it's Samantha on her balcony in the biggest fucking hat you've ever seen, eating guacamole and staring at her neighbor that she's so sexually attracted to. First of all, the sheer size of this hat, incredible. And then Kim Cattrall's hat-cting, the hat-cting. It's Lucille Ball-esque in its playfulness, but it's so subtle and so sexy. And she's pounding guacamole, and we haven't had a problematic fat joke yet, so it all works so beautifully. It's honestly one of the only scenes from the movie that I remember. Is it a daily inspiration? Probably. I love guacamole and I love a beach hat.
It's awesome. I want to dose that hat. Are you kidding?
I mean, it's incredible. Everything about this scene is incredible. And just the magic that it is. I'm hungry.
Yeah,
I'm hungry for the guac and I'm hungry for the hat. I also love that off of this hat scene, she's so delirious that she just goes and buys a dog. What?
Yeah, what? This is becoming mania. I love it.
Yeah, it just goes like very unhinged. She buys a dog because it also humps.
Right. Also, we know that this dog is only going to exist for like one scene in the next movie and then disappear. So R.I.P. to that dog.
R.I.P. to this dog. But she takes the dog to all the big shopping chains and we just get a trunk full of product placement.
Great. It's exactly what I was in the mood for. Let me drink my smart water.
I'm thirsty for that Starbucks. Louise takes on Carrie's shoes, putting them in the closet. And, they're kind of unpacking the closet. And Carrie comes across the wedding dress and kind of admits to missing big. And in this, she kind of learns that Louise also went through a breakup recently. And she's like, I have 2 broken hearts in my closet. Dear God. They go to grab drinks and they bond over love because basically Louise was like dating this guy who decided that she wasn't the one. And that's why he broke up with her. It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
And then she gets a call to hang out with a guy at 11 p.m. And Carrie's like, that's a booty call. And I'm like, you need to stop.
Yeah. You need to back off.
You need to let Jennifer Hudson exit the scene when she wants to exit the scene. You're not allowed to keep her here prisoner.
Yeah. You free her.
Free her. Free Jennifer Hudson. Carrie and Charlotte go shopping for a desk. And Carrie's like, Harry called me to tell me that you're not running anymore. Weird. And Charlotte's like, well, I don't want to run and risk hurting the baby. And then Carrie's like, you should run. And then Charlotte's like, okay. And then there's a voiceover of like, Charlotte slowly went to the reservoir with her dogs, but over time she learned that she could run. And that's her whole plot for this movie.
It is momentous enough that this person is having a baby. I'm not moved by this weird plot about the running that we see in just this scene. Where did this come from?
Also, it's not like her not running is negatively impacting her life. It's not like Harry called and you're not running and like you're like crazy now. I don't know, something. She just decided to keep the pregnancy safe because she's scared of losing the baby.
Let the girl not run, Jesus.
Let the girl not run, damn it. Carrie denies going to any holiday parties, and Louise gives her a DVD copy of Meet Me in St. Louis. Bonding. And then Carrie's like, oh, I didn't get you a gift. And Louise is like, it's okay. And she's like, good thing I got this gift, though, hidden under the bed. And Jennifer Hudson's like, okay. And then Jennifer Hudson has a full meltdown being like, it's my own Louis Vuitton bag. And all of us, all women in the audience are back to
that
burning bras, reading.
I'm ripping the popcorn thing apart with my bare hands.
Yeah, I'm like evoking Susan B. Anthony to come back to life.
She comes back, she's tearing up the chairs. Tufts of things are flying everywhere.
Yeah. Susan B. Anthony
is resurrected.
Is back and she is going, yes, like Meryl Streep in that gif at the screen in the cinema. Yeah. Except wasn't she racist? So maybe
yes, she
not.
was. So she comes back and then she's like, actually, we don't have time for this kind of feminism. We need to focus on the white feminism. And we're like, actually, Susan, go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep. Somebody knocks her out with a shovel and then we just dig her back into the movie theater and just keep watching the movie.
Knocks her out with a shovel.
Because women be bringing that to the movie theater because we crazy.
There's nothing more comical for some reason than a shovel. It's scientifically the funniest tool.
God. Iconic. So Carrie's does New Year's Eve at home, eating cup of noodles and watching St. Louis. Miranda's getting ready, prepping Brady for his New Year's Eve party with Steve. This scene is heartbreaking.
They break my heart. This family just was breaking my heart throughout this whole movie. Poor Brady.
Poor Brady.
He's so annoying when he grows up, but I feel just so bad for him.
Now I understand the trauma. Carrie, literally one line is said like, I love him in the movie. And she's like, I can't watch this.
Disgusting.
I hate it. Carrie goes to her laptop, writes the word love, period, and then deletes it.
Okay, woman behavior? Question mark? What do we think?
Woman behavior? Yeah,
what do we think? A certain kind of neurotic woman? Yes.
And,
so funny. I'll show him.
Show him.
Delete.
She just lays in bed and then the phone rings and it's Miranda and she's kind of, trying to hold back tears about the whole Brady thing and being alone. And then Carrie's like, if you want me to come over, I can. And Miranda's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah, thank God Carrie ends up coming over. Because I was like, if she listens to her friend say that to her on the phone and doesn't get her ass out of that apartment, it's over. This movie's over for me.
And then we get like the longest montage.
Yeah, what?
That should be like the finale of the movie, but isn't. And it just keeps going.
It's like all 3-4 verses of Auld Lang Syne that you don't know exist.
That's what's crazy is that they play the New Year song and like, yeah, you're like, I didn't know there were this many verses. Like, why am I hearing it? I'm going crazy. Like, what? And then it's like all in slow motion and it lasts for 3 whole minutes. And you're like, why is this in the movie?
This is simply too much.
All I needed was Carrie slow-mo running to Miranda. That's all I needed. I didn't need all 10 extra scenes.
No.
So we see Charlotte and Harry, like Charlotte's pregnant on the couch and they're just like happy with Lily. Great. Leave them alone. We see Samantha and Smith Jared together in matching New Year's Eve sequin pajamas. Great. Leave them alone. We see Stanford and Anthony hanging out at a party. Great. Why are they here? I don't know.
Why are they here? It's so out of nowhere. Just so out of nowhere. Why are they here? And why are they kissing each other so awkwardly?
They like guzzle their drinks back, turn and look at each other and then kiss and then pull away and then look in disgust. And I'm like, I can't be laughing when you're playing the like Taps version of the New Year's Eve song.
Right. Like earnestly. It says, what am I supposed to feel about this couple? Is this supposed to be fan service?
I think it's supposed to be fan service and a little bit of comedy in this tender moment.
Why are they like this? Do you remember you told me that they just randomly become a couple out of nowhere? Like, why? They don't seem to like each other.
You see the origin story right here.
This is it?
Yep.
There's no lead up to this? There's no...
Nope. The 2 gay guys in the story belong to be together, Emily, and I just need you to accept that. We wrote 2 gay guys in this show, and they are going to get married, and I just need you to accept that. And they marry each other because they're gay, and they're in this show. And that's the reason. And you just need to be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, you need to call 911 BetterHelp.
Hello?
It's a Lily on the other side of the phone going, sex! And then hanging up.
Lily, I need you to kill someone for me. I've seen what you can do. The money will be wired to your account. Oh my God. We go from this to essentially the wedding.
Yep.
The beginning of the second movie. All right.
Movie writing. Figure it out, Emily. Clearly you don't know how it's done. Character development. Figure it out.
I would like to speak with you.
Offline. We like drop in some like elevator music here.
Yeah.
You and I just like go off to the side and are like, Emily, this is how it's gonna go. But I can't, Emily, you just need to move on. But Emily, we're an hour in and we need to finish up this podcast. But Emily, I need you to just put it somewhere else. I need you to take Carrie's advice and I need you to just swallow it and suck it up, okay? And show up to the wedding. And if you don't show up to the wedding, it's your fault and I hate you.
Yes, ma'am.
I am mayor of the Munchkin City and you will listen.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, but my favorite part of this whole New Year's Eve thing is how they keep cutting back to Big alone at the hotel bar. And I think that the director who directed that scene was incorrect because he didn't tell Big, you have to look sad. He just was like, it's just you at the bar. And he looks totally happy to be there alone. I just need one shot of him looking a little sad and they don't give it to me. And so I'm like, oh, Carrie's torn up, but this dude's fine.
This dude's fine. Yeah, at least for the sake of the film. Like, let's put aside the whatever realism of like Big is kind of a dick and would pretend to be fine even when he's not. Like he would go out and have this facial expression on after just destroying his third marriage. I believe that. But for the sake of the film and that we have to get these two back together somehow, make him a little wistful. Make him a little drunk.
At least look out the window like one time.
Yeah.
Instead, he's like, I'm going to drink my red wine and eat my steak. Thank you very much.
Make him like drunk. Look out the window, sadly. And then that's all I need.
Yeah. We cut to Louise at home where her ex presumably shows up because I've never met him, but they just look at each other and I'm like, I guess this is her ex. I don't care.
Whatever.
Miranda opens a fortune cookie, reads the fortune, and then like rolls her eyes and like throws it. And I'm like, if you're going to throw it, movie, I need you to then show it to me.
Yeah, now
I need to read that it said
it's something totally random too. It's one of those like, I once got a fortune cookie that told me you will go to karaoke party.
Right, exactly.
I want it to be something like that.
Exactly.
It just says, hey, it's JD Diaz.
Hey, it's JD. Oh, God. No. 911, better help. We also get to see Steve asleep with Brady, and they're like asleep in the same way with their arms over their head. Just precious.
It's so precious.
And then we see that Carrie shows up in her turban and her heels in the snow. And then we cut to Charlotte and Harry having tender sex.
Lovemaking.
And then we cut to Samantha and Smith making out, and then her dog humping a pillow.
Lovemaking.
And that's this 3-minute montage that's randomly in this movie.
Yeah. Good thing we got to all of that.
Well, then the 4 girls walk down the street to go to Fashion Week.
This is another episode now of Sex and the City. Like, it just started. You see what I'm saying? It's like, when she's doing the overview of like, it's that time for women in the city or whatever the fuck she said. I'm like, that was a check my watch moment again, where I was like, we got another episode?
I too checked my watch at this moment because I was just like, why are we here? What is achieved by this scene?
Yeah.
But it's another clothing montage. I'm like, I'm getting diseased at these clothing montages. And I never thought I would say that. I love a clothing montage, but I cannot do 3 in one movie.
No.
I'm losing my mind.
Jeez.
What clothes am I supposed to look at? This is where I turn to Jerry Seinfeld. How many clothes am I supposed to look at?
Yeah.
Which one, George? Carrie's gonna put on more clothes? Okay. What's the deal with all these fashion montages? I can't do it, George. Okay, I'm done. But that's how I feel.
What's with the fashion? God, you showed her too much fashion and now she's Jerry Seinfeld. Look what you've done.
I'm broken. Emily. What if I did the rest of this podcast like this? They go to Fashion Week.
I would stop our call right now.
This is where we get Miranda being like, is this what you guys are doing in Manhattan? Well, I'm suffering in Brooklyn. I'm rolling my
sick
eyes.
of this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this as a Manhattanite. I'm sick of this. Like, I grew up in Manhattan. I get it. It's really fun to be snobbish about Manhattan. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this joke.
But while she's saying, living up the Manhattan life, she kind of goes on this speech about like, oh, I didn't do anything this exciting until I took Brady to the aquarium. And then she's like, well, and Steve
This is
does the
Brooklyn
cutest.
Aquarium.
What?
Sorry to just like weirdly hyperfixate on everything that Miranda says, but she says Brooklyn Aquarium. I think it's just the New York Aquarium. It's just in Brooklyn.
We have to really sell that it's in the hellhole that is Brooklina.
I really need to. Michael. All right.
I'm like, you went to the aquarium because, again, you have a child, not because you couldn't make it to Fashion Week. You just decided to be nice and take your son to the aquarium.
Right. That's a good point. Everything she's pointing out is just being a mom.
It's sad that she's going to be our most hated character.
Yeah.
She used to be so big in our lives and such a beacon, and now they ruined it. They ruined it. Basically, we see that she misses Steve, although she doesn't admit it.
Yeah.
Charlotte even asks her, like, are you sure about the Steve thing? And I don't even remember if Miranda responds, but basically Charlotte's
I think
just
this is when she's like, would you say to forgive Big?
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then Charlotte's like, no, I wouldn't. In fact, I have my opening line prepared for when I see him, which is, I put a curse on the day you were born, which is pretty good.
I kind of love that.
Best character award.
Best character award. They tried to take her down, and all she has to do is say a line like this, and boop, 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 she goes back to the top of the rankings.
Well, the fashion show starts, and Carrie's like, I finally feel like myself, which is what I'm saying when I'm like, the plot of this movie is Carrie finding herself again. Okay. This is the line. Do you see it?
Now
Isn't it well crafted?
And now I'm getting more and more annoyed about it.
Are you seeing how well crafted it is? As is a Starbucks Frappuccino.
It makes no sense. If the conflict in their marriage, their conflict in their appending marriage should have been her being afraid to lose her like independence and singledom. And then they break up for, reasons. And then she realizes, oh, wait, it's still here all along. I can have that in addition to being in a relationship. And then they reconcile. Like, that is maybe the arc that they're setting up with this line, but that's not what's going on.
No, the arc of the movie is that you made the wedding about you. That we'll get into more on later. But that's the plot of the movie, is that the wedding was supposed to be about the two of you, and it ended up being about you. And so in order to heal, it has to be about the two of you. But the movie doesn't really go on that journey.
Yeah. It lands at that conclusion kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. Instead, they go on the journey of her finding herself via being a brunette, which is disrespectful to me. As part of the brunette community, I'm mad. You can't just use us as a costume. I'm kidding.
Who do you think you are?
You know how rare it is to be a blonde? You should stick to your Aryan race and call it a day.
How dare you? Who will speak for the brunettes?
Who will stand up and say, no, Carrie? Yeah. Get back in your lane, girly.
Canceled.
Can I tell you the number one comment when I tell people we do this podcast? The number one culture of savvy thing that people tell me that they think is like the high criticism of this show is they're like, God, isn't Carrie awful? And I'm like, she is awful. This is a fact. It's baked into the DNA of the character.
Right. I do hate when people present a hot take to you and then they'll say the most obvious fucking thing in the world. When we watched Black Panther, when it first came out, and everyone and their mothers, I mean, I guess this is like maybe specifically for white people, but not limited to, but just like wanted to be like, hey, hot take. Killmonger made some good points. And it's like, do I need to sit you down and tell you what a sympathetic villain like is?
Yeah, I need to tell you
everyone
what a
wanted to say
is.
Everyone was so excited. They were like, hot take. Can I just say, he made some good points.
It's the point of the movie. Yeah, I'm like, the point of Carrie is that she's
awful,
an anti-hero. And so she does very problematic things, but there are parts of her that you identify with.
If she were good and all of the friends were not, for example, I think this entire dynamic of the show would be radically different. Like,
yeah,
it just wouldn't be what it is, which is like, we love to watch a good train wreck, right? How many shows are built around this? I also think back to a very astute point you made very early on in and just like that about how the lines between Carrie Bradshaw and SJB start to get blurred. And I think it's because they lose this, where like now, you know, Carrie continues to do bad things and it's just like that. But the writers, the actress, the creators, like the show itself doesn't see them as, it's like not in on it.
Yeah.
Because it's just Sarah Jessica Parker acting like Sarah Jessica Parker. And you and I will be like, wow, that was kind of awful. But the show doesn't treat it as like an awful thing to do because now she's just good all the time.
And also, I think the actual hot take with Carrie to have is like, she was the first flawed woman to be on television in this way, where she was just like living life and fucking up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we need more women who fuck up. That's like the real hot take, is that Carrie is an icon goddess. And in this essay, I will. Okay, I'm not willing to stand next to that, but I am willing to stand next to say that like, I'm okay to have flawed female characters, and we should have more flawed female characters.
Yeah, like this is a good normal thing we should do more often.
Now, am I going to continue this podcast where I continue to dig into and rail into her?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Why do you think we're here?
And do I hate her? And did Killmonger have good points? Yes, but I think we all need to take a step back and appreciate having flawed female characters. And my labia minora and majora are tired from clapping. They're going to take a break. Okay. They're like, girl, you're making too many good points.
Enough.
Shut up. Well, we end this scene with protesters pouring paint on Samantha. And Samantha's like, I love New York City. And we're going to move on.
Cutting room floor.
Cutting room floor. Then we cut to Carrie meeting Louise and the ex-BF that's now a boyfriend once again. Whatever, they're friends. She's not just help. She's also her friend. Starbucks. Mm-hmm. When you're here, you're both. Okay. She gets a really cute Valentine's Day card from Lily. I do love that moment. There are a lot of just cute silent moments in this movie that are like, you know, nonverbal, good scenes where you're like, this is really setting up stuff. And that slowly fades away over time after this.
So sad. So nice to see the remnants of that.
I do love that we pan over to the magazines though. Mm. And you see the Vogue that has Carrie in it. And on top of it is like a magazine that says something to the effect of, is the real estate bubble gonna pop? And I'm like, the recession is coming.
Oh my God.
The recession is here. Like, I'm supposed to look at the Vogue and all I can look at is this magazine. And I'm like, Carrie, open it. The recession, it's coming.
Carrie, grab your apartment right the fuck now.
Carrie,
pay it off.
Just want to like, and they're totally thinking like this is just extra magazines or whatever, but like, dun dun. Doom.
What an incredible, oh my God. That's such an incredible bit of like ominous foreshadowing of a thing that we know they'll never ever discuss, but
never ever.
So
Samantha
funny.
calls to say that she's making sushi for Smith Jared for Valentine's Day, and she's going to lay naked with the sushi on her body. Hot. Carrie and Miranda are at Valentine's Day dinner. I do love the way that this scene is set up with all the balloon strings like in their face. Like it's just such a subtle way to be obnoxious but still see their faces.
Yes, yeah.
For the camera.
For the camera.
And then when Carrie storms out later, which we'll get to, like the fact that she has to like push through the strings.
Go through a jungle. Yeah.
I love it. I think more movies should do things like this.
Good staging. Yes. Yes, thank you. Bring back more stagings.
I will give this movie one thing. Good staging. And here Carrie kind of admits, I guess, the thesis of the movie, which is I let the wedding get bigger than big. And Miranda decides to confess here, which is like crazy because it's like your friend Carrie, who has never been able to accept fault for anything and generally sucks, owns up to her part in why the wedding fell apart. And you're like, actually, I'm going to give you an out to blame it on somebody else. And that somebody else is going to be me.
Such a terrible decision in 10 different ways.
Just why? Carrie freaks out at her, obviously. tells her, like, I would never lie to you. And then she's like, actually, I have been lying to you. I think leaving Steve was the biggest mistake you've ever made. And then is like, bye, and leaves.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, ay, ay.
Also, where was this energy before? I mean, well, not before. Later. For Che.
Oh, yeah. Carrie's given up. Carrie, like, it's like, I think because they lost Samantha, they reshuffled the whole show. And to your point, they decided that Carrie was like the wise, sage voice of reason. And you're like, where would you get that?
Where on earth?
Where did you get that?
Landed? Yeah.
Was it in your Starbucks cup? Must have been.
Seriously.
Well, Samantha waits with the sushi on her body, but she forgot to bring the landline next to her. So Smith Gerald calls and leaves a voicemail being like, I'm going to be a little late. And she's like, okay. And so she's sitting there with hours go by. But at some point she decides, fuck it, I'm not laying here anymore. I'm done. Because the sushi's also like kind of rolling off her body, which at this point, it's gross.
Yeah, at this point, it might not be healthy.
Yeah, so she gets up, and I do love that she has these fishbone shoes.
That's
Adorable.
cute.
And the neighbor's having a threesome on Valentine's Day. Who is this guy? He cannot be good. He has got to be in jail now.
Yeah, that's, they should have done one of those, like, here's where they are now. Samantha got a whatever. And then it's the neighbor's in jail.
He's got to be in jail. This is not ethical. Eventually, Smith Jared does come home, and Samantha's like, I waited for you for hours with the sushi. And he was like, sorry, I was caught up at work. And she chucks the sushi at him and is like, I'm not sitting at home waiting for a man. That's not me. How dare you make me do that? Like, how dare this evening go this way? And she just has a meltdown and storms out.
It's sort of sad to see. I mean, I know she's going to be happier by herself, so the end result is fine, but it's just sad to see.
It's sad to see because I don't want to give away too much in the series, but obviously they are a relationship from the series that's handled just like chef's kiss impeccable. Kim Cattrall always thought that Samantha should end up alone, that had power. That character kind of representing the forever single woman had power in it. And by even giving her a domestic partnership kind of took some of that power away. And so I think they want to reverse that in this movie, but I don't like the way that it unfolds.
Yeah.
Because this is, I mean, yes, she shouldn't wait around in a kitchen for a man, blah, 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 blah. But he tried to reach out to her and say, like, what's up?
Yeah, yeah. And based on how civil their conversation was beforehand, I feel like this was a missed opportunity for, like, an actually really sweet breakup scene.
Miranda harasses Carrie with, I'm sorry, and eventually pulls up to a cab in front of her house. And she's like, you have to forgive me. Carrie's like you're going to forgive Steve? Like, Steve has been asking you to forgive him for like 6 months now, and you won't even look at him, and you're begging me to forgive you. And I've only had 2 days to think about it.
Where was this loyalty for Steve? Is like all I can think of this whole sequence. It's just like, all I could think of was that scene that's going to happen when they're painting the house and Steve is trying to ask her questions like, did you know she was into women? Did you just anything? And all Carrie can say is like, it's about Che.
Yeah, I do like that there is a Steve camaraderie in this movie that is completely missing from And Just Like That. That's sad. And I love here that the cab driver nods in agreement. He's like,
aww.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. So then we see Miranda and Steve going to couple therapy and basically learning, because he's like, you broke my trust in you when you just decided to keel off and just be like, bye. And so how can I trust you? And the couples therapist is like, you don't know if you can trust each other. And because that's the only therapy in this movie, that's the only good, compelling, emotional scene we get.
What do you know?
What do you know?
Brought to you by BetterHelp.
Now, this next scene is brought to us by Pret a Manger, because Miranda and Carrie walk and talk in Central Park. And basically Miranda's like, we're going to spend 2 weeks apart. And then we have to pick a meeting place. And if we both agree to show up in the meeting place, it means we're ready to move on and we're never going to look back like on this chapter. And Carrie's like, well, what are you going to do? And she's like, I don't know. And then Carrie's like, you're caught between feeling and thinking. And I think you just need to feel. And I'm there like, we all know we can't trust this bitch with advice. So why are we watching this scene? Oh, it's because they're eating
we don't need to hear
sandwiches.
what Carrie has to say. Yeah.
So then we cut to Carrie and Louise. And Louise is like, the penthouse was sold.
What?
I'm like, you didn't talk to Big at all, but somehow you both sold the penthouse together that has your money tied up in it. What money did you use to buy back this apartment if that money was still tied up in the penthouse?
The part of the apartment. Exactly. There is witchcraft going on.
Something
illegal happened.
And Louise reveals that she is engaged because I guess that ex-boyfriend who decided she wasn't the one finally decided she was the one.
I love when they do that.
Men, when they figure their shit out, they can be good boy.
Yes, exactly. They can be good boy. I love when men change mind and say yes instead of no.
I love when men say no and then we disappear and then they say yes. That's how that should work.
That's how that works. Marriage.
Marriage. Well, Miranda makes a pro and con list about whether to stay with Steve, which is fair.
Yeah, no, that's we're back to normal behavior.
But the thing that makes her make the change is that she's drinking a coffee and she gets a milk mustache.
Drinking a what?
As she gets up from the table,
Drinking a what from what? Drinking a what from where?
I'm sorry. She drinks a Starbucks, and then when she gets up, she has a Starbucks on her face. And in seeing the Starbucks on her face, she goes, Steve.
That's what I thought you said. Yeah.
And then she cleans it off with a smart water.
Yeah. Gurgles it.
No, but she does have a milk mustache. Again, just
Yes,
fucking heartbreaking. And she sees the milk mustache in the mirror. And she's
I can't. It sucks to know where this is going, Marina.
And then she goes to the Brooklyn Bridge and she's like, is he here? And then he is. And then they run. Oh my God, I'm getting a heart cramp. Oh, that hurt. Ooh.
Oh my God, she's getting a heart attack live on air.
I'm literally getting a live heart attack. Wow. Okay. They see each other on the Brooklyn Bridge and then they run to each other and they hug. And he's slightly shorter than her. And so it's even cuter. And then they cut to the most graphic sex we've had all movie.
I know.
Like her full vulva is out.
I know. But also, like, again, it's like that position is easiest when you're slightly taller than the guy, too. So when I was like, you go! And she's having a great time. And Steve is so short.
Oh, but I'm so sad.
I know, it should have ended here, Marina.
It should have ended here. House. They just should have had an open marriage. They just should have had an open marriage. What petition do I need to get thousands of people to sign?
It's fine. It's fine. You were happy. You're getting ice cream, watching TV together. Your marriage wasn't falling apart. You just hadn't had sex in a while. Oh my God. It's so heartbreaking all over again. This is so heartbreaking that it's made Marina have a heart attack live.
I literally got a cramp in my chest. I got scared. And I'm so sad.
Her last words were going to be, and he's shorter than her, and so it's so cute.
Keel over. Oh, 911 better help. Okay.
She's dead. She died of Steve and Miranda-ness.
It's just like, it's so beautifully shot, and it looks so good, and they're so happy, and it's like...
They're so happy.
They're so happy. Okay, I have to push through, or else I'm just going to start crying.
Oh my God.
Samantha's at the beach. Her dog runs onto the deck of the neighbor. We learn.
Are you gonna cry through this?
I'm gonna cry. everybody in this movie. Just sad for everybody who's a part of this franchise. This isn't even as bad as Abu Dhabi. At least that's just dumb. This is like trying to play with my heart.
This is like heartbreaking.
I'm getting a heart cramp.
I'm getting a heart cramp.
I'm having a hard time.
And yeah, that's called a heart attack.
I can't feel my left side. Okay.
Yeah, can you feel your arm? Can you move it?
Drooping? I don't know. I smell burnt toast. Okay. Samantha's dog runs up onto the deck of the neighbor.
Yeah, I know what happens.
He's showering fully naked. His dong is out.
There's tears. It's yes, and then what happens?
And then he says, "Hey, my name is Dante." And then they make a joke about how it's Samantha's circle of hell. I'm so mad.
It's just so heartbreaking.
And then she runs away with the dog. I got through it.
Oh, you did it. You did
it.
it.
I got through it. America, I did it.
Guys, Marina is like, there's tears on her face. She's disheveled. She's falling apart. She's wiping her eyes.
I'm so sad. And we get one of the worst scenes in the whole movie. God, it's like back-to-back slaps in the face.
I know. God, it's relentless. It's relentless.
Carrie hosts a baby shower for Charlotte in what is her redesigned studio apartment that looks worse than before. Oh, I got it out. And the blonde hair is back.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Thank God.
She's found herself.
She found herself. Samantha shows up with, not my words, with their words, a gut.
Okay.
The way that Samantha Jones is like, it's clear that they just put like one size of pants smaller than normal on her to like, you know, puff out her stomach. This is just so mean.
Yeah.
Because she's not even fat.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, you know, being overweight or gaining weight in emotional time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is a thin woman and they go, what the fuck is that gut to her face in front of everybody at a party?
It's crazy.
It's
crazy. The craziest thing you've ever seen. It's like to scream at a thin person, what is that gut? And then also to treat, it's like the quote unquote weight that she's added is like somehow the worst thing that's happened to her. It's so perplexing to me.
But they have a talk about it where Samantha says, I'm eating cake to avoid cheating. And even Carrie here in this scene is like, put down the cake, sweetheart. I think they think it's funny.
Yeah, they
like,
do.
Ho, 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 she's eating instead of having sex. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Canceled.
Again.
When people come to you and tell you, oh, the first movie's good, remind them of this scene.
Yeah,
that's all I'll
that'll
say.
End that conversation real quick. Yeah.
Samantha's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm not meant to be in a relationship, but you know, he stayed with me through chemo. And Carrie's like, you just compared your relationship to chemo. And I'm like, that's not how that works.
What? Yeah, that once again, the writer has like failed reading comprehension and like understanding. You know what I mean? He got me through this difficult time in my life. Oh, so you're comparing your relationship to a difficult time in your life? No, it's not at all what I said, but okay.
But, well, that convinces her to break up with Smith Jared.
Ridiculous.
Because the next scene, she breaks up with him. She gives us the iconic line, I love you, but I love me more. Which, how do I say? This scene is so good. There is truth in this scene. Just, I don't like the way we got here.
Mm-hmm.
The hijinks that we had to take to get here with the fucking neighbor. the dog, the humping dog, the fat joke. Like, it's just like the sushi, the guac. It's just, this woman deserves better. And I think we all can know and see why she didn't come back.
Yeah, no, it becomes clearer and clearer the more every second she's on screen. Miss Jared didn't deserve this.
He didn't. She goes to give him back the flower ring, and he's like, keep it. Think of me every time you wear it. Nice.
Oh.
Sad. And then we got to get one more fat joke in there. Am I right, everybody? And she's eating ice cream on the plane intensely, and she and the flight attendant get into a fight because the flight attendant's like, we have to land, and she's like trying to pull the ice cream out of her hand, and she's trying to finish every last bite, and I'm like, this is
horrendous.
Cutting
room floor.
Fired. Louise, it's like her last day with Carrie, so she's explaining to Carrie, like, here's your mail, and here's how all your ugly cabinets work. Sorry, I said it. And Carrie's like, you brought me back to life, like crying. And I'm like, oh my God. I don't like the tenor of this scene.
Yeah. Nope. Don't like it.
In an earlier scene when they were talking at the bar, Louise says that she has a keychain with the word love on it. And she's like, I like to bring my love with me wherever I go. And when she gives the keys back to Carrie, she gives the keychain back to Carrie. And Carrie's like, oh, don't you want your love keychain? And Louise is like, I already have my love. You keep it. And I was like, that's pretty confident. But okay.
All right. God bless.
Good thing we'll never see that keychain again. Can I just say, by the way, Jennifer Hudson making a guest star appearance in one episode of And Just Like That would have been so great. Unfortunately, because they don't look back at their own canon, they've forgotten completely that she was in this empire.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a good point. There's so much you can do with her here and nothing. I mean, they don't even reference her. Clearly she wouldn't, if she didn't come back or whatever, that's one thing. But like, they don't even reference her.
Charlotte goes to lunch and she sees Big. She tries to kind of escape, but Big sees her and chases her. And they have this big kind of fight in the street where she's like, I'm not going to waste tears on you. And like, she tells him, I curse the day you were born. And Big just kind of takes it like the NPC that he is. Yep. And then she's like, my water broke. So Big takes her to Lenox Hill. That's also my favorite part. When they get in the cab, she's like, can we go to Lenox Hill?
It's really funny.
And we get to the hospital room and Harry's there and she's given birth to Rose. I do love Harry's joke here where he's like, how did it become my lot in life to be surrounded by beautiful women? Get this man literally anything he wants.
He's earned it.
Carrie meets the baby and Harry's basically like, I know I'm stepping out of turn here, but I think you need to give Big a call because he stayed around the hospital, in the hope that he would see you. And Carrie's like, I'll think about it.
I don't know why her friends are so pro Big all of a sudden.
Because the movie has told us to be.
And this is why I made forgiveness a thing. Is like, well, I think you should let him talk. But like, it's not just like they had a fight and then broke up. It's like he left her at the altar after years of torture and crying. And her friends have the nerve to be like, you should give him a shot and talk to him.
I'm just saying, like, he fucked up. Like, it's kind of on him to figure out how to apologize.
I agree. That's a good point.
Even though she was a bit of a bridezilla. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Anyway. Because Harry tells her, well, Big says he wrote you every day. Notebook. And Carrie's like, no, he didn't. And so she goes back to his apartment and looks through the letter mail. Mm-hmm. And there's no letter there. And so she decides maybe I should check my email. She checks her email. She's not finding anything. But suddenly she finds a CB assistant folder that has a locked password. And she's like, what could the password be? And so she calls Jennifer Hudson, but Jennifer Hudson doesn't answer. And then she realizes it's the keychain. It's love. So she types in the word love and all the letters appear. And so basically every day, Big has sent her a typed up love letter from her book of men writing love letters, which is a fictional book, isn't even a real book. They made it up for the movie, and then a bunch of women wanted to buy it, and then it didn't exist. So then they made the book to sell to the women who wanted it, along with their Starbucks.
Capitalism.
That's
the password for the emails.
And then she's like, and the last love letter was from him. And it's 2 sentences. I know I screwed it up, but I will love you.
Okay.
This man.
We're
almost there.
Tiring.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
Hold my hand. We're almost there. We're almost at the obnoxious Jennifer Hudson song. Come on. We're almost there.
God, if only it just ended with Pitbull instead, this whole movie would have a different vibe.
Well, we're going to end this with Pitbull.
Dolly Parton.
We're going to end this. Yes, we're going to end this with powerful women. So at this exact moment, Louise calls. Dun dun. She's at wedding dress shopping. Dun dun. And she's
Boy,
like,
they're
"Oh
moving
my
fast.
God, the apartment is closing in an hour, and then they're gonna change the locks, and your shoes are still there." And Carrie's like, "Oh no, my shoes! I have to go get my shoes." So she shows up at the pre-war, post-war place, as she describes it, and Big is there with the shoes.
Just looking at them like a weirdo.
Yeah, I'm truly. She runs to him, and then they cuddle on the floor like a bunch of weirdos.
Just everything they do pisses us off.
For one moment, I was like, "Did they have sex?" And then I was like, "No, because their clothes are still on." So they just hugged, and then we're like, "Let's lay down on the floor."
Yeah, did they? Yeah, I did wonder about that because I was like, oh, they had sex right there in the closet, but then his pants are back on.
No, and like
the
his
belt
tie is tied.
done.
Like, come on now.
Yeah. They just fell. I don't.
I don't know, but I like to think about the conversation where it's like, "Should we just? Yeah, let's just get down on the ground." Okay.
Let's just lie down. Yeah.
They apologize to each other, and he says, the proposal was all business and no romance. So he gets down on one knee, and then he proposes with the shoes. Women. Gotta love them. Well, we cut ahead to the courthouse wedding, and she's in the suit and the shoes, like it was supposed to be. He says, "It'd be nice to have the girls here." And then I just wrote in my notes, "and they be there." Gary's like, "Yeah, I'll show them later." And then he's like, "No, they're here right now. Open the doors, Jerry Springer." And they burst out, and then the Jennifer Hudson love song blasts through the speakers. And then we get a big dinner meal, and this is cute. It's cute to see everybody at the table interacting.
Having a good time.
Steve winks at Miranda. Devastating.
Shadows our heart once again.
Then Carrie gives her best librarian drag as she reads a chapter from her book with her little glasses and her turtleneck.
It's like, who do you think you are?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, calm down.
All right.
And then the four girls go out in their sequins and their best dresses. And we find out that it's Samantha's 50th birthday party. And they're like, "Happy birthday." It's so touching.
Man, I wish this movie didn't spend so much time ragging on Carrie for being the quote-unquote last single woman at 40. What a freak. To then end on such a lovely note celebrating newly single Samantha who's turning 50. It would have been so fun and a lighthearted end if I didn't just watch all of those jokes in this movie.
Wow, get them. I also love when they get to the bar and they order 4 Cosmos, and I think Samantha's like, "Why did we ever stop drinking these?" And Carrie's like, "'Cause everybody started drinking them." And I'm like, "Are you reading me as an audience member? Excuse me, both my labia lips clapped for you."
She called you a sheep.
Yeah, I'm like, and then the movie ends, and I'm like, "Why am I holding Starbucks?"
Yeah. Who put this here?
Who put this here? And she says, "Dressing it head to toe in love never goes out of style." Thanks.
Yeah, she ends on that. She says, "Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming to my movie. I'm Sarah Jessica Parker."
Sarah Jessica Parker. That's the movie. We end our podcast as we end all our podcasts, with our low and our high, our rose and our thorn, top moment, low moment. Emily, what was your low moment of this part 2?
It's definitely the constant mockery of Samantha and her quote unquote gut was just so hard to watch. That's got to be the low.
I think the low for me is just Miranda telling Carrie anything. Sometimes it's okay to keep it inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless it's actually monumental, like you stabbed Big and that's why he couldn't come to the wedding, keep it inside. Throw it in the safe. Die with that secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better for everyone.
Better for everybody
Except for
involved.
you, but you just have to have that on your conscience, and that's your punishment. Sorry.
And that's exactly what you get to live with for the rest of time.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Sorry.
What was your high, your release the Kraken of this part 2?
It's got to be the Brooklyn Bridge moment was so... It broke my heart, but in all the right ways, because it's like... It broke my heart because it's so beautiful and tender and hopeful, you know?
The note that it lands on feels good and is inspiring. Mm-hmm. You know, it says like you can work through tough things in a marriage like this and it's okay, you know? Yeah. All in the trash. I think my release the Kraken, it's got to be Charlotte shitting herself. It's funny.
Poughkeepsie?
Poo-keepsie. And she sells it.
Yeah, her face journey is
her
remarkable.
Acting in that is incredible.
Yeah.
And I love when she drinks the water too, and she freaks out about drinking the water. 10 out of 10.
Physical comedy.
Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball shaking.
Found dead. Well, this has been Sex and the City, the movie, part 2. Thank you for joining us. We will be taking a 2-week break, and then, oh my God, we are at the show.
We've made it. Oh my God.
We made it to the actual show.
We've done it. I still can't believe it.
People are waiting on bated breath for us to get to the damn show. I can't wait. So be sure in the meantime, while you're waiting for us, you know, like, subscribe, send it to your mom, send it to your dad, high five us, drink a Starbucks. Who said that? And we will see you back in 2004. Bye.
It's Mr. Worldwide with the one and only Dolly Parton.
Well, hey!
And this is dedicated to all my powerful women working 9 to 5, 2, 3 jobs just to survive. All my powerful women, no man at home, raising all the kids alone. All my powerful women, y'all deserve a throne. Keep your head up and stay strong. All my powerful women, no matter what, never give up. I remember working hard with my mom. You name it, she did it. You name it, she sold it. You name it, she cleaned it. You name it, she owed it. She had to provide. We had to survive, so you name it, she stole it. Our whole life was layaway. Pay, but the bills never went away. Put your hands to the sky. This goes out to the women working hard 9 to 5.